When you think of MMA greatness, you would surely think of the likes of the undefeated Khabib Nurmagomedov, two-division champion George St. Pierre, and the great Jon Jones. But, perhaps undeservedly, one name that would certainly come across your mind is Stockton native Nate Diaz. Yes, he doesn't have the most polished MMA career record, and his championship credentials leave a lot to be desired. But there was something about watching Nate compete in the UFC that would certainly earn him legendary status. This is why his final fight in the UFC against an absolute killer like Khamzat Chimaev leaves a sour taste in the bulk of MMA fans' mouths. Hello and welcome to another video. Here we'll be examining the story behind the Khamzat vs Diaz matchup. UFC 279 is less than a week away, but the controversy surrounding the matchup would make it seem like the fight hasn't been booked yet. On one end, we have Nate Diaz, a 37-year-old mixed martial art veteran approaching the twilight of an illustrious career, going against a 29-year-old Khamzat who is still just entering his physical prime and looks seemingly unstoppable. It almost feels like Nate is being fed to the wolves. This is further backed by the bookmakers, who have pegged Chimaev as a -1100 favorite and Diaz as a +700 underdog. But given Nate's standing within the sport, why is he such a heavy underdog? Age. Like it or not, Nate isn't the young and brash fighter that could perform submissions from anywhere and box with the best of the best. Age has clearly taken a toll on him. In his most recent fights against the likes of Masvidal and Leon Edwards, he has looked slow, lethargic, and off pace, and almost looks like he doesn't want to be there. Compare that to Khamzat, who has looked incredible in all his fights. His sheer athleticism and power have seen him steamroll a host of welterweights, including number 3 ranked Gilbert Burns. Size disadvantage. Many recent fans might not know this, but Nate did much of his best work in the lightweight division of the UFC. It was there that he beat the likes of Takanori Gomi and Donald Cerrone in spectacular fashion. It wasn't until 2016 that he became a regular in the 170-pound division. Compare this to Khamzat, who has fought in the middleweight division and looks huge there, and it doesn't look well for Nate. Apart from Usman, Chimaev is undoubtedly the biggest welterweight in the UFC. So on fight night, the size discrepancy will tilt massively against the Stockton native. Fighting style. There is a popular saying in MMA that styles make fights, and that could not be more true when you analyze this matchup. Khamzat is a pressure wrestler unlike no other in the business, with insane knockout power. His ability to swarm his opponent early on before they can even get going is his biggest strength. Stack this against Diaz, who has an unwanted history of starting fights slow and being dominated by pressure wrestlers in the past, like Rory McDonald. Then it doesn't make for good viewing. Given the numerous downsides of the fight to Nate Diaz, why has Dana decided to feed one of the biggest stars in Nate Diaz to the wolves in his final ever UFC fight? Is it as punishment to Nate, who has had a torrid relationship with the UFC in his career? Or is it a means to boost Khamzat's stock and following? Well, the answer is both. Nate has made millions from and for the UFC. His charisma and warrior mentality entices fans to watch the sport, which in turn makes the organization more popular. But regardless of these, you won't be lying if you said that Nate and the UFC president Dana White don't like each other. Over the years, both Nate and his elder brother Nick have had public disputes with the UFC, from contract disagreements to quarrels on how much they should be paid, even to underpromotion on the part of Nate. These disputes have dragged out right to Nate's final fight, and even recently, he has gone on to publicly bash the UFC and ask them to release him. Now, if you were Dana White, what would you do? Do you give Nate an easy fight to bow out with, after which he carries all the hype and goes to other ventures? Or do you give him the most difficult fight in the business and ensure that he ends on a whimper? Of course, you would pick the second option, and that is what Dana has done. By feeding him to Khamzat, he is trying to reduce the chances of Nate leaving the UFC with a win to an almost impossible margin. Another way to look at why the UFC has made this fight is to further promote Khamzat. Chimaev is a rising star in the UFC with an unprecedented skill set, but he is still some way short of the level of superdom that the likes of Conor, Khabib, and Diaz himself have attained, which is why the fight makes sense from Khamzat's point of view. By fighting and beating Nate, Khamzat instantly becomes a global star. Nate's following becomes Khamzat's following, which would mean more millions of dollars entering the UFC. On a quick side note, if you're enjoying our content and would like to watch more, smash that like and subscribe button, as we will be bringing more and more bombastic content to you. The big question. Given the massive odds against Nate, it begs a very good question. Why would anyone want to watch this fight? If we know how good Khamzat is and how on the decline Nate is, surely there isn't a need for anyone to watch this fight, right? But come fight night, the stadium will be packed with thousands of fans, millions of PPV buyers across the world, and millions of illegal streams with the same phrase going through everyone's minds. What if? What if Nate finds a way to submit Khamzat in the 5th round? What if he catches him with the same combo he caught Leon with and ends up finishing him? What if he weathers the early storm by Chimaev just to go on to finish him later in the fight? These questions and many more are why millions of fans around the world are going to tune in to watch the fight, because if there's anything we've learned, it's to never count the Diaz out. Time and time again, Nate has entered fights with almost certainty of being beaten, only to find a way to rally and come away with a win or some form of moral victory. And that's what fans are waiting to see. Because regardless of his recent decline, you can never count out a great fighter's ability to do great things in the octagon. And this is what members of the Diaz army would be hoping for. And this brings us to our next section. How can Nate actually win? The chances of Nate winning are very slim, but they exist. And we'll be looking at some of the ways the tide of the fight can move in his favor. Stamina. If there is any weakness that Khamzat has, it is his gas tank. In his most recent fight against Gilbert, we saw him tire badly in the 2nd round, which eventually gave Gilbert some success. And given that this is a 5-round fight, you'd like to think that the latter rounds would favor Diaz. Nate is an insane cardio machine who seems to get better and stronger as the fight progresses. So if there's any chance that he'll get a win, capitalizing on his far superior cardio would be vital. Pressure on Khamzat. Make no mistake about it, the pressure of this fight is on Khamzat. He doesn't just have to win, but he has to win so convincingly and without doubt. The UFC has created an air of invincibility around the Swedish fighter, in a way not so dissimilar to Conor back in 2016. And with this comes a lot of pressure to deliver. If he gets too emotional and begins to let the pressure get to him, you can be sure that Nate will certainly capitalize. Experience. Last on our list on how Nate can beat Chimaev is through experience. You can have all the talent and knowledge in the world, but experience can't be learned. And Nate has that in abundance. His veteran savvy has seen him overcome fighters like Conor McGregor and Michael Johnson, and, if done correctly, could see him overcome Khamzat. So there you have it, folks. With UFC 279 just a few days away, the buzz and hype surrounding this fight could not be higher, as two of the sport's biggest stars, past and present, lock horns at the T-Mobile Arena. Let us know your thoughts on who you feel will come away with the W and how the fight will end.